Hello everyone and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, and I'm aware we have a new mode and a new card today. We've got some announcements coming up for both of those in this video. But for the time being, we still gotta hit Infinite, we still gotta climb on the Infinite ladder, and we have some of the best decks to do that. We're kicking it off with Mr. Sinister Chamo. This is Chamo's deck. He's currently ranked 5 on the Infinite leaderboard with this list. I think this list is absolutely incredible, and I cannot wait to tell you about it. You can find Chamo himself streaming at twitch.tv/Chamo92. He is largely a Spanish language streamer, so if that's a language you're comfortable with, go check him out, but he's absolutely worth watching either way, one of the very best players in the world. This deck needs Gwenpool, Galacta, Fenris, Gladiator, and Surge. Those are your required cards. Merlin is not really needed. It could be Kate Bishop or any sort of decent 2 here. You do like the access to extra cheap cards that Merlin gives you or Kate gives you, so try and keep that in mind. Let's go card by card. So this deck is built almost more than any other around Galacta and Gwenpool. I know there's a lot of Galactic Gwenpool good stuff, but this deck really is built around that. They are the main way to get power, and we're trying to do extra things with them. So we've got Zabu and Surge largely as a way to get Galacta and Gwenpool out early, or to make sure we can play them with other cards. The other use for those 2 cards is Shang and Enchantress. Getting those 2 cards cheaper means that you have more flexibility and more ways to win the game in the late game. A 3-cost Shang-Chi at the end of the game is often going to win a lot more than a 4-cost because the 3-cost Shang-Chi lets you do extra stuff in addition. Surge and Zabu are enablers for that type of combo, and thus those are in the deck. Mr. Sinister is the secret sauce here. He's the thing that really takes this over the top. Galacta or Gwenpool hitting Mr. Sinister doubles their buff, which means you get a 2/10 from Galacta, potentially more than that from a Gwenpool, but sometimes only, #only, a 2/8. So Sinister is just really strong here as this late game play. He also gives you a little bit of a way to get into certain locations that could be rougher to get into otherwise. Fenris Wolf, meanwhile, in a deck that you're running Shang-Chi and Gladiator, almost always has at least one good target. Killmonger helps too, especially if you can hit a demon. So we've got all that good stuff for Fenris Wolf. It's just a really powerful card in the meta right now, as sort of it's become a part of the good stuff package. Even without Mercury Cannonball, just running Gladiator and Shang-Chi are often enough. Merlin is just probably the simplest card to play in the game in decks like this, so let's go over some of the things you can do with Merlin. First, obviously, is the location control. Access to location control in almost every deck is now just here because of Merlin, which is something I never thought Marvel Snap would do, but there's so much more. Being able to shuffle a Zabu or a Surge late game back for some extra energy is really great. You've triggered Fenris Wolf, turned it into a 3-drop is awesome. Your Shang and Enchantress used early to turn into a 5-drop is likewise great, or a used Gwenpool to turn into a 5-drop. All of these are extremely powerful things that Merlin enables you. A used Killmonger becoming a 4-drop is really nice. Same thing for Mobius toward the end of the game. So we have all these wonderful options from Merlin, who is just an incredibly important and powerful piece in the metagame. Killmonger is an answer card largely for Thanos decks and for these sort of I build a million Hood, Demon, Victoria Hand things that are around. I think Killmonger is fairly likely to end up on the chopping block later, but there are matches he wins that almost nothing else does right now. Mobius is the same basic thing. It's a tech card. You don't want, like, one of the ways that this deck loses is opponents going over the top with cards like Mockingbird that get extra cheap, or going over the top with decks like Mr. Negative, and Mobius is a big nope on those game plans. Gladiator is the biggest stats in the deck at a 3/8, plus he can get up to a 3/9, 3/11, even more than that with Gwenpool, which are all really nice, and he feeds your Fenris Wolf. Just really great to have Gladiator as a member of the team in this one. Shang and Enchantress are your control cards. They're how you get extra cubes. Playing Shang and Enchantress and something else at the end of the game, which is not unheard of, between Zabu, Surge, and some Merlin spells, is almost always going to win you extra cubes. Galacta and Gwenpool are your power scaling, as outside of the 1/8 in Gladiator, this is a very otherwise low-powered deck. So, gun to my head, I think this, or a version of this, is the best deck in the game. Maybe it's a Loki version, maybe it's this version, it's unclear, but gun to my head, if I had to pick one deck to play, I think that this is where I would go. I think this is going to be the most consistent climber in this game, as long as you play it very carefully. Turn 1, we Zabu. Turn 2, we Surge over Merlin over Fenris. Turn 3, we want Galacta or Gwenpool, and if we can tell what our opponent's playing, we can snap on that. Over Gladiator over Mobius. Turn 4, still Galacta or Gwenpool, over a 3, but usually we're running unless we are pretty sure Tekken wins the game. We need to make sure we see either Galacta or Gwenpool for this deck 90% of the time for it to really have enough power to compete. You can win without those, but it's going to be very rare, and you're going to need some lucky pulls with cards like Polymorph. Turn 5 is a control card, generally Killmonger, Shang, and Enchantress. Remember, they can cost 3, and Fenris is generally better than Sinister this turn. Turn 6, we're either going 2 control cards or 1 control card and Mr. Sinister, and sometimes we can do all of the above and really go off for a ton of power. Chalmo is rank 5 with this. He's absolutely crushing. Everyone who plays this is absolutely crushing right now. This is not the easiest thing in the world to play, but if you get the hang of throwing priority, this is a list that's going to win you an absolute ton of games of Marvel Snap. Before we go any further, please hit that sub button if you're willing to. We're doing our very best to bring you the best Marvel Snap content. We will have 2 videos today. We are very likely to have 2 videos tomorrow and 2 videos Thursday. If you want the most Marvel Snap content with exclusive decks you can't get anywhere else, please hit that sub button here. In addition, we cannot give away a season pass right now, so instead of giving away a season pass, we're giving away a PAX code, which gives you an exclusive, you can't get anywhere else, card back, an exclusive Miles Morales variant, and an exclusive border. So if you want those, please stay tuned to this video. You're going to have to sub, like, and then go check something else out. All right, next up, Secret Afflict Tech. And before we actually talk about this deck, let's make that quick announcement I wanted to tell you. Voltage Overdrive started today. Well, yesterday, technically, for when you're seeing this. And there will be a video up for it tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning's video is going to be the proven best high voltage overdrive decks. I want to make sure that the meta has time to settle, and we're sure what the best of those decks are before we go forward with those. The mode is brand new and just came out. Showing you the best decks right now would be a disservice. So tomorrow morning will be the best voltage decks. If you're looking for a take on the card that comes out later today, Nightmare, that's going to come later this video. I'm going to send you to a different channel. I'm trying to help out some of my friends at Comic Book Click by posting that video over there. So if you want some extra decks, some extra takes on Nightmare, along with my very best bets on it, I'm going to ask you to head over there. I'll give you that link later this video. For now, though, Cougar's got a Secret Afflict Tech. So you've probably seen versions of this deck for months now. We decided to try a werewolf version, and Cam featured the earlier version, the experimental version of that. I messaged Cougar. I was like, why are we not running Wasp here if we're running Werewolf by Night, right? So Wasp seems like this incredible piece to it, and it turns out it's amazing, as this has been up like a ridiculous amount of cubes in a very small amount of games. You can find Cougar at twitch.tv/Cougar. That's double O's, triple R's. So go check out Cougar, one of the best players in the game one of the best players in the game, period, but also one of the best at explaining his game plan and motives in making moves. This deck needs a reasonable amount of high stuff. Ajax, Werewolf, High Evolutionary, Luffy, Kate, and Merlin are all required. We'll go over why when we go through the turn-by-turn stuff. Rocket and Groot can be Red Guardian or Gladiator, although if you don't have Rocket and Groot, you're going to have to find another move card, because Werewolf and Rocket and Groot are the way that Miles is worth it. Nico here can be Spider-Ham just fine. All right, so Wasp's uses here. So Wasp has 3 different uses, at least probably 4 different uses in this deck. So on turn, first things first. Sometimes you clog your hand with Merlin or Kate Bishop. Wasp is a nice, cheap, easy way to get out of that. Next, Wasp gives you a Werewolf by Night extra move, especially useful on the last turn of the game when you might want to get that to a key spot. Wasp and Luffy, if you can Luffy a full lane and Wasp a different lane, that is -5, which is enough to give you the free Abomination at the end of the game you're looking for. Wasp is also a card that you're happy to destroy or turn into a demon with Nico Minoru. So all those reasons are why Wasp is in this deck. It's just a lot of power. It's really, really, really good for this. Nico Minoru obviously is here once more, as stated, for that Wasp trigger, but also it can move a card in a pinch for that Miles. It gives you an extra location change. It's just a really, really good toolbox card. Don't be afraid to copy a 1/6 Miles or a free Abomination either. There's a lot of power in Nico Minoru in this list. It can offer you a lot, blowing up arrows to draw extra cards, copying spells, all sorts of great stuff here. Even just getting the extra power or turning Nico into 1/4 ends up reasonably strong sometimes. Kate Bishop is good. She gives you arrows that move Werewolf. That's kind of why she's here. The arrows that move Werewolf are the point of Kate. Merlin is the best way to move Kate, and you would generally prefer to use the Merlin spells to move Kate around because the spells go away and don't clog your board, but you do need a backup plan, otherwise Werewolf doesn't end up very good in the list. Werewolf is your key turn 3 play. You move it around with Wasp, you move it around with Luffy, you move it around with Hazmat, you move it around with arrows and spells and Nico, and it just ends up being really big. It's like an 11 to 15 power card that ends up in a fairly unpredictable space. It makes it hard for your opponents to stay if you have Werewolf and you've set up your other combos. Rocket and Groot is sort of your... Werewolf's moving also makes Miles Morales cheaper, which is also very useful. Rocket and Groot, meanwhile, is a second mover that also helps to feed the Ajax and Abomination package, so it's nice to have that. If you can tell where your opponent's going to play, sometimes they're going to have no choice but to play on Rocket and Groot, which is really good. It's also an extra way into some other hard-to-win lanes. Hazmat makes your Abomination free most of the time. That's the real reason it's here, and it makes your Ajax huge because you don't run Luke. Luffy is sort of backup Ajax. You're trying to hit 3 or 4 cards with it. to get yourself as cheap as possible Abomination, you can Lofty on either turn 4 or turn 5. There are games where you're going to get in weird situations and Lofty on turn 6. If you don't have Ajax, but you have Abomination and Miles, that's totally fine. He's still a very, very powerful card and potentially lane-winning one. Miles is a 1/6, and we run those when we can. High Evolutionary is here. High Evolutionary gives us the hopefully free Abomination, and now gives us the extra access to Wasp in the list. Otherwise, that would have to be the significantly worse Yellow Jacket. Ajax is just 5 huge. He's often 20 plus power, a lane winner all by himself. And then Abomination as an 09 lets you go over the top in another lane you're competing with. Sometimes it's a 1/9 and you're stuck without playing Miles. You live. All right, so this one has an absolutely ridiculous cube rate. Its win rate is fine. It's like a 60% in high infinite, top 50-ish, but its cube rate is absurd. I actually just did severe damage to its cube rate, and so has Cougar, because you feel so strong, it's hard to run sometimes. But like, so Cougar lost 2 8-cubers that he should have just run from on 2 cubes, and I just lost an 8-cuber as Merlin decided that my easy 1 lane should be Bar with No Name last turn. So that kind of thing will happen, but outside of that, this is going to absolutely crush. Turn 1 pass, turn 2 Merlin over Kate, turn 3 Werewolf, and if you have Werewolf after Merlin or Kate, you can very often snap. Otherwise, you're playing Rocket and Groot. Turn 4, we're going Lofty, or we can do some earlier plays. If we played Werewolf, this is a decent time to play like a Merlin spell and a Wasp, something like that. Sometimes you just play Evo, it's totally fine. Don't hesitate. If you've got Rocket and Groot, and you can play Miles through something else moving, you can always do that as well if you're looking for a prio. You sometimes don't want prio. You're fairly immune because you're not putting out that much power early to tech cards, so keep that in mind. Hazmat, and anything you can is generally the turn 5. You will also play Lofty here, but you drop Hazmat and then you drop like a couple of Kate arrows, move some stuff around, and you're good. Turn 6, Ajax, Miles, Abomination, and then you've put up, like, generally speaking, around 35 to 40 points of power, which is, 37-ish points of power, which is generally going to win most games of Marvel Snap. I love this list. The first 2 lists here today are absolute monsters. These are beasts of lists that if I was trying to climb hit infinite or climb infinite this season, they are what I would be looking for. I'm already infinite. I'm like rank 700 this season, which is very low for me, especially at this point in the season, because I'm trying to prepare a lot of stressful stuff. Hopefully changing my life in a fair amount with a big announcement to come soon. So I decided not to try and push rank this season, but this one felt so freaking good. These last 2 decks, friends, are where you want to go. Come check out a stream. I will be streaming today at about 8, streaming both the new mode and the new card, Nightmare. And if you'd like my take on Nightmare, our PAX code giveaway this week is only happening at the following YouTube channel, youtube.com/@comicbookclick. I'm going to post a video there at Daily Reset. That's what's going to be there. Your job is to like and comment on that video. Your like and comment enters you to win a PAX code. It's just that simple, friends. Go over to youtube.com/@comicbookclick and make sure you keep an eye there. There's great comic book content if you are a comic fan. But the other thing that happens on Comic Book Click is every Tuesday, I'm going to be posting a video there. It's going to be where my new card reviews live so that we can give you more full snap takes, which are generally the videos on this channel that do the very best anyway. Our snap take videos absolutely crush everything else. So we're going to be doing more snap takes here, and then hopefully you find some love and support for Nightmare's video at the Daily Reset. They're a bunch of really, really kind people, and we're going to throw our support behind them. See you on stream tonight, and hopefully see you there for that video later today. All right, Zenade's M-Tech is our next deck. I told you I would have another Morgan Le Fay deck for you today after we covered a different, more combo-heavy Zenade deck yesterday. In this one, Morgan is definitely an extra card, but there is a reasonable amount of stuff here that she can do for you to really help you out. You can find Zenade at twitch.tv/ZenadeTFT. He is an amazing Marvel Snap player. He plays more games than almost anyone in the world right now. The only person I think playing more right now are like Derek and Dark Razor. Sizer's actually fallen back a little bit in that race. This needs Firehair, Sage, Cass, and Misery. Those 4 cards are your requirements. Merlin can be Kate, Mirage, or Surge, and Morgan can be Phoenix Force. Morgan's better, but Phoenix Force is fine. I want Venom in this list, but hey, whatever. So we have 2 cards that can feed our Morgan Le Fay. They are Killmonger and they are Misery. We're generally choosing between getting back a bunch of Hoods, Demons, Nico, Zabu. That's totally fine to get back. Or we're choosing to get back whatever we eat with Misery. Generally speaking, we're looking Cassandra Nova, Sage type stuff. Either way, we're in a really, really strong position. So the Hood gives us Demons. Demons are good. 1/6s are good. 1/9s are better. That's the use of the Hood in the list, and you want to get rid of the Hood preferably while Firehair is on the board using Killmonger or Misery. Misery gives you a million demons, and hey, you're just way ahead in terms of power for cost then. Nico is a backup destroy, largely for Hood, can turn things into demons. It's just a really, really good extra card to have. The other really, really cool power that Nico has is copy. Copying Sage or Cassandra Nova are both incredibly strong things to do. Zabu is here to help us with our curve. I really wanted to fit Surge here, but like Venom, it's really hard to find space, especially since this deck is rolling at a plus 60% win rate with a major cube rate. But Zabu is really great here. Shangan Enchantress, we talked about control cards in the first deck, same basic concept here. Getting them cheaper is huge. The other thing is Misery and Morgan. Misery is very often a very strong play if you can fit Hood in extra, right? If you can go Cassandra into Hood Misery, you're like Firehair into Cassandra into Hood Misery, you're really, really cooking. You would do all that on Zabu with pleasure and then play Morgan and get it back, especially if Morgan's a little cheaper, and now you absolutely have, like, won that game, right? So that is what we're trying to do with Zabu. Also, bringing it back is not bad. You'll happily play a 1-5. If 1-6 is good, 1-5 is worse, but still fine. Firehair gives you extra triggers for everything. An extra Zabu trigger is obviously huge for all the same reasons. A single Zabu is huge. The extra hoods are really big. And then, of course, Cassandra Nova and Sage. Let's say you use Misery on Cassandra Nova. That's going to trigger Cassandra Nova again, and then Firehair is going to trigger, and now the opponent has -3 to all cards in their deck for the last few turns. Or the same thing with Sage. Firehair will then copy Sage, and then if you can bring that Sage back with your Morgan, you're going to have this huge Sage on top of your Firehair Sage to win the game. Very powerful stuff here. Merlin is utility here. It's an extra way to get rid of Hood if you don't see everything else. It's an extra thing to do with your cheap cards. Not amazing here, but still pretty good. Cassandra Nova is here largely for the Misery combo, but also there's a lot of Arisham in the meta, and she gives you a favorable matchup. Sage is an end-turn power play, or that you can play with like a Shang or Enchantress if you've Zabu'd them, or just a really good card to get rid of if you can bring it back with Morgan. It's basically backup Cassandra early and a closer late. Killmonger is one of our destroy cards. We talked about that. Shang and Enchantress are control cards. They give us the flex to beat other things. Morgan lets us play enough power to win, much like Galactic Gwynplaine did in the previous deck. Morgan does here. And then Misery is our last destroy card with extra on-reveal triggers for extra spice. This one, turn 1 Zabu over Hood. Oh no, I didn't say any snap conditions. Snap conditions are your control cards and your Morgan happening after a Misery or a Killmonger. Cool. Zabu over Hood. Turn 2 Firehair over Merlin. Turn 3 Cass over Sage. Turn 4 Misery on that Cass/Zabu Hood. Or you can play Hood and Monger. Turn 5, we're looking at Morgan or a control card. Generally speaking, if we have Morgan, we want a Morgan here. She's pretty important if we've destroyed stuff or stuff has been discarded. And then turn 6, replay buff stuff, demons, and control card. This list is really, really good. Yesterday's list is more combo heavy, and when it wins bigger, it wins with better cubes, it can beat more decks. This one is much more consistent and straightforward. Morgan is not great here, but she's at least good. A 4/7 that has some upside is a powerful play. Come check out some streams outside of myself today. Around 12 p.m. Eastern, Prashant should be streaming a bunch of these decks. So go check out our friend Prashant today for the stream team. Next up, we've got Safety Blades, the GKO. Safety is an absolute monster at Marvel Snap, and he created what I think is the best Hellion Galactus list. I don't think Hellion Galactus is a good combo right now. I'm going to be completely honest. I think Galactus is a little outpowered in the meta, but I know a lot of people really, really want to play Hellion Galactus, so the Safety Blade GKO list is the way to do so, although it is absurdly, prohibitively expensive. We've got twitch.tv/safetyblade if you are looking for safety. Safety is not only a former top 10 player, he's created numerous meta decks from the previous Professor X Cannonball list to the original Dracula dump, and he's also a writer, like I am, on Marvel Snap Zone, where he writes articles not semi-regularly. This deck needs an absurd number of high series stuff, sorry. Kale, Series 4, Mercury, Series 4, Hellion, Series 4, so at least there's that. Surge, okay, Series 5, Hope, Series 5, but also former Season Pass. Luna Series 5, Galacta Series 5, but also Season Pass. I said Mercury twice, sorry. Cannonball Series 4. So at least like some of the stuff here is Series 4 and some of it's Season Pass, so if you are a long-term Season Pass buyer, you should be most of the way along to this deck. Alioth is important, but Red Hulk and Null are reasonable options. Kate can be Merlin or Ghost Spider, as you choose. Alright. Kitty is here largely for Hope Summers. She doesn't have a ton of extra use, but with Hope Summers, she can help you get enough extra energy to Galactus out early. Galactus out early is obviously an important and powerful thing to do. That's it. That's all she's here for. She is the easiest way to trigger Hope Summers regularly. That's also kind of what Kate Bishop is here for, although the Acid Arrow is pretty good to set up a Galactus lane as well. Jennifer Kale gives you an extra ramp into Galactus, and along with either Surge or Luna Snow, can let you Galactus on turn 4, which is extremely strong. Mercury is here as part of the Cannonball combo. If you were able to get enough extra energy into Galactus, let's say you played a few card on Hope, a Kitty on Hope, trigger Jennifer Kale, and then played Galactus, which means you have extra energy, you can still Mercury Cannonball, but hey, just the Cannonball will kill once you've Galactus. They also give you a play pattern if you don't see Galactus to win the game, where you can stack up a lane to win with Hellion, and then use Mercury and Cannonball. Extra energy is easy in this deck. Use Mercury and Cannonball in order to win on that last turn. Surge is just another ramp card, again, helping us get Galactus out early and letting us have extra combos. Kate we've talked about. Hope is a ramp card. Luna is a ramp card. Are we sensing a pattern? Galacta is one of the key ways to get Galactus off. A 9-power Galactus is far more likely to happen than a 6-power one. That's just that simple. Galacta gives us that extra power, that extra ability. She's basically the only way we ever get to Galactus on the last turn too. If we play that Hellion, we can move all the big cards into one lane, and then we can Galact into Galactus, and sometimes we get lucky that way too. Cannonball is again our main game plan that is not Galactus. We are trying to use Hellion and Cannonball to win a lane if we don't Galactus. We can also Cannonball after Galactus for an auto kill without priority of the biggest thing, assuming the opponent doesn't have a Lyth or Cosmo or something. But our idea here is that if we Hellion and we stack up like a Galacta and a Luna and stuff in a lane, that's already 19 power, we can move, I don't care, a Hope there, right? And now we have 22 power. That's fairly likely to win a lane, especially if the opponent hasn't played much there already. At that point, Mercury and Cannonball should win the game. Hellion also, as you move everything out of lane, let's say you only have a few cards on the board, you play Hellion, and now the opponent has to figure out which of the two lanes you're going to Galactus, as you can move everything out of either one. Finally, Galactus is obvious, right? Destroys the board. And then Alioth is your, I have Prio after Galactus, and I don't want them to go over the top of me. Alioth solves that problem for you. All right, so turn 1, we want Kitty. Nice and simple. Turn 2 is Kale over Surge over Mercury, which is equal to Kate if Hope. So getting Mercury out is pretty good. You want to be a little careful with getting Mercury out early. She is vulnerable to tech. Kate gives you some ones to play on Hope Summers, and that Hazmat arrow is so damn good. Jennifer Kale is better than Surge generally because you need to activate her, and activate takes time to really happen. Plus, there's things Surge can hit that are nice but don't super help, right? Like hitting a Cannonball that you're not going to play till later isn't amazing. Turn 3, we want Luna or Hope. It's going to depend on our hand and board. I tend to prefer Luna, but Hope is perfectly fine. Turn 4, if we can Galactus by Jennifer Kale or getting Surge hits on top of Luna, then we should. We should try and get Galactus out early. Galactus is equal to Hellion, otherwise it's better than a 2/2. If you have the extra energy and you can Hellion now, and you're going to have the extra energy to Galactus, you are setting your opponent up with a nice catch-22. Galactus is obviously really strong if you're planning on Galactusing on 5. Or if you're planning on Hellioning on 5. You can also play a 2/2 here. A Surge and a Mercury are fine. A Kale and a Mercury are fine. Turn 5, we want Galactus over Cannonball Alive. As a general rule, we can sometimes Alive on turn 5, stopping opponents, filling a lane, giving us a lane we've won, which will lead us to Mercury and Cannonball on the last turn or Alive. We can also end up Galactusing on the last turn, but it's a little less likely. I don't know. Kneel before Galactus seems like a good thing to do. This is a very, very powerful and cool deck, but it is going to be janky, and once opponents know what you're doing, it's far harder to win with. So enjoy it while you can, get some wins, and then we can go forward. Our question of the day is, Renwrench asks, can Colossus be a 6/10? I think it'd be interesting to try Colossus as a 6/10. I'm more concerned with that in the early game. Remember, he's an early series card than in the late game, where I don't think he'd see a lot of play. However, I think it would be a worthwhile experiment for us to have in the game, at least for a little while. A big thing I've long wanted in Marvel Snap is I love the idea of cards and decks leveling up. I think that as a bunch of Series 1, 2, and 3 cards, as you hit Series 3, as you hit certain benchmarks in Series 3, should level up, should like become their evolved versions or whatever, right? So Colossus can be a 2/3 early, so we learn things in the early game, and then he could evolve into a 6/10 for the late game players. And then if he's too strong, the evolution could be weakened, right? He could lose part of his text. I think that would be a really, really cool way to go in terms of like making these early game cards more powerful. I don't expect them to do that, because what they've decided to do instead is sell us second copies of cards, right? Like we're getting another Mr. Fantastic, we're getting another thing, and so on. So I don't expect them to do that, but it would be a cool thing and a cool way to do things like Colossus that might mess up the early game in a way to like prevent that. The other thing to note here is The other thing to note here is that it is potentially too powerful. I don't think it would be. And my immediate reaction is it'd be a good card, not a great card. 10 is a lot, but it's not like unheard of. If it was a 5/10, I think it might be broken. But at a 6/10, I think it's probably a fair and balanced card. And they should be careful with absolutely breaking things. But like it's Colossus, let's go for it. All right, before we talk about our Patreons, I just want to remind you to check out Comic Book Click later today and let you know that the High Voltage Overdrive will be back. First thing tomorrow. I will have a bunch of decks for you for that. So make sure you stay tuned for that. In addition, check out patreon.com/snapjudgments if you're willing to throw some extra support behind this here channel. First, Bricks to Click, our patron of the month. We are going to very likely on Saturday do our next patron of the month giant streamabration, so stop by for that. Thank you to Abigail Gilson, Mandatory Burnout, It Regardless, LAB Inc., I Am Frostman, Jota Navarrete, Prime Brian, Ryan Burke, Ryan Wood Snap, Ren Wrench, Kirtix Lee, Koire, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Pyrofrost, The Goat Seeker, Code, Hollowed, Only Fox, Synth. Nick, Absolute Shannon, Nightmare, oh, Wake Up, Dirty Casual, Filthy, Mr. Kerfuffle, my opponent who I haven't seen in a while, Cables, how you doing, Cables? Thanks for the message last night, Ginger Prime, hey Ginge, Philly, Philip Rakovich, trying to get me to lead in alliance, no, Haplo, what's Haploning, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, The Notorious, Bizza, also notorious as Black Jeeps 23, Extra Fiends, KPG, Rhyming Friends, Jessica Gamble, Sup Jess, Mr. Slush Death, killing it lately. The King of Bros, bro, the Great Kazoo, Werewolf, oh, Kev, Stehoda, hey Kev, Clam, Colonel Forbin, how you doing, Forbin, Rob Silverman is in real name town, as is David G. Wingfield, Stephen, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B., Mr. Craig Sterry, Matt V., and Corey, that's real name town. We've got another potential member, real name town. We've got a new $10 Patreon. Thank you so much. You will be added to tomorrow's video. I just had to wait for your reply. Next up, we've got Corbin, John Q, and Jim McHugh. You down, you stout. Eighth Sage, One Big Man, Milkman for Reals, Cactus Jack, Reapser, Yo Marco, Quid Pro Joe, Snap, Decision Show, Dick Carlo 220, Models, Monster Beam, Bickety Boom Bop, Green Goblin, Unibot V2. Check him out on YouTube. Sorry, Twitch. Yeah, no, YouTube. Unibot's on YouTube. Wee, I know things. Thalon56, The Fuzzy Up, Spectrumix. Whoo. It's Ocularis, Matt H, the only one we need. DJ, Mikey Hijinks, no freaking flex. Nick, Duh. Greek Geek, who I need to remember to message when I'm finished recording. Toxic Soul King, it's Toxie. Zadrek74, the King of Canada. JJ, Deadman Falcon, Falk, Thorpe, Newman, Jonesy Snap, Two Ties, the Great, Lauren Devs, the Pirate King Tucker, and of course, Gunny T. The T stands for today's video is over. I hope you've had a good one, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully I'll see you on Comic Book Click later today, but if not, I'll still see you tomorrow for another Snap Take. Voltage Overdrive, baby. Peace.